Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar brought to you by Bursa Malaysia. Our webinar today is titled Why Invest in Asia? So my name is Shen Chu. I'm the moderator for this session. So in this session, our speaker will share with us what are the reasons to invest in Asia, and as we zoom into artificial intelligence. Now, as you know, AI has become a significant topic this year as many investors seek out AI theme stocks to take advantage of the strong growth momentum in Asia. And today, our speaker will provide you with the insights into the AI supply chain and the distinct contribution of each segment in the AI supply chain. And before we begin, as usual, disclaimer, whatever we share in this webinar is only for educational purpose. In no way that we give any recommendation for you to buy or sell any listed securities that we mentioned here. If you decide to make any investment decisions, you're 100% responsible for all your investment risk. Now, allow me to briefly introduce our speaker today. He joined Kenanga Investors Berhad in 2022 as a senior analyst and was promoted to be the portfolio manager in 2023 and currently has more than 6 years of experience in the investment industry. His responsibilities include portfolio management and research coverage on selected markets and sectors. He started his career as an analyst in regional venture capital firm in 2017. Prior to joining Kenanga Investors Berhad, he gained valuable investment experience from his previous role as an investment analyst in a family office fund, investment firm, and venture capital firm. He graduated from University of Nottingham, Malaysia campus with master's degree in finance and investment. He's none other than Mr. William Kong. William, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good.
All right, so we're seeing you on the screen right now. So without further ado, let me just pull up your slide, yeah?
All right, sure. Thanks.
Give me a minute, yeah?
Don't worry, take your time.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about why AI and why Asia. I guess, William, you'll start with the market outlook first, right?
Yep, correct. Just
right.
briefly touch through on the market outlook first then. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yes, here we are. Over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm William Kong, and thanks for inviting me today for this topic, why invest in Asia. As this region has so much to offer, so today I will talk about why Asia is an important region for investor, and then I will explain a bit more on the AI team and how the AI supply chain work. Next. Okay, I will talk briefly on the market outlook and then go straight to the main topic, why invest in Asia. Market outlook is not a main topic, but I'll just touch on it quickly. All right, next. Next again, one more. Yeah, all right. Okay, no clear sign from Fed yet on when the hike cycle will end. As US continue to hike its interest rate, right, more investors will put their money into the US due to higher interest rate. Therefore, when Fed decided to start cutting interest rate, the Asia region will tend to perform better as more liquidity flow into the Asia region. On the November Fed meeting, or FOMC, the Fed maintained its OPR at 5.25% to 5.5%, which was between expectation, and the Fed chairman say that the central bank is still watching the data closely and is keeping its option for further rate increase. So according to the Bloomberg consensus, right, the Fed is anticipated to begin cutting interest rate in 2024. All right, next. Okay, positioning for the end of the tightening cycle. The end of the Fed tightening cycle, right, is often followed by a rebound in equity market. However, the extent of the rebound will be greatly dependent on the market condition. Therefore, are we expecting a strong V-shaped recovery or a U-shaped recovery? Only time will tell. However, the latest FOMC statement indicated two significant changes. Firstly, the job market, while still strong with low unemployment, has seen a moderation in job gain, suggesting a cooling trend compared to the previous statement. Secondly, the Fed acknowledged that both the rise in market interest rate, particularly US Treasury yield, and the stricter lending standard implemented by the US bank are contributing to the overall tightening of financial and credit conditions for household and business. This tightening aligned with the Fed broader effort to adjust its monetary policy. All right, I won't talk much anymore in the macro, and I will jump straight to today's topic. Next. Okay, why invest in Asia? Next. Next. Okay, IMF forecast 2023 GDP growth at 2.8% worldwide for 2023 and 5.3% for the Asia region. Therefore, as you can see that the Asia growth is much faster than the global growth. A couple of days ago, IMF also revised upward China 2023 GDP growth forecast to 5.4% from 5%, but expecting a slow 2024 to 4.6% in China due to prolonged weakness in the property market. Next. Okay, this chart is just to show you that the Asia Pacific is expected to contribute close to 70% of the global GDP growth for 2023. And China and India contribute around 50% of the global growth. Next. Okay, this chart shows the median age, focusing on Asia region. And as you can see, the median age in Asia is close to 30 years old, where there is still a lot of growth moving forward, as 30 years old is where your income starts to grow and you start to spend more as well. Therefore, the Asia region population is currently on the growth phase in terms of income and expenditure. All right, next. Okay, Asia is the export powerhouse, as many of us already know, especially China being the leader in export. Now, as US trying to divert away from China, more and more factories are being built around the Asia region, which will directly benefit the Asia countries. All right, next. Leveraging technology development, next. Okay, AI is the key theme now, right? As many key players are now investing heavily into the AI, as the use of AI improved the programming speed by 5 to 10 times, which is amazing. Therefore, the supply chain of the AI is very important now. Macquarie Research estimate the value of the semicon in AI server is at 9 to 18 times higher than in a standard server, and the DRAM content in the AI server are also 5 to 30 times higher than enterprise server. Therefore, to produce an AI server is very expensive. Okay, later in the slide, I will explain to you the DRAM function in the AI server. All right, next. Okay, this chart is basically show you that, the AI spending in the Asia Pacific is growing, and you will reach 49.2 billion by 2026. Okay, next. Okay, the first phase of AI complete. I'm pretty sure by now, almost everyone know this company called NVIDIA, which is the main beneficiary on the AI cycle with its A100 and H100 chips. Moving forward, investors tend to ask whether is this sustainable and who is next. So in order for us to find out who is the next beneficiary in the AI team, we have to first look at the entire AI team supply chain. All right, next. Okay, we do think that Taiwan is the key beneficiary on the AI team due to its complete AI ecosystem. I'm pretty sure that most of the investors know about TSMC, or Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which is the largest company in Taiwan. But actually, there are many more companies in Taiwan that benefit from the AI team. So let me explain the flow first. Okay, for example, hyperscaler such as Microsoft, Google, or Amazon decided they need an AI chips, which is either a training chips or inference chips. Then this hyperscaler will contact fabless company can be Intel, AMD, or NVIDIA, that they need a specific set of criteria for their AI chips. Can be latency speed, power consumption, processing power, Then the fabless company, like your NVIDIA or Intel, will then design the AI chips based on in-house IP. Okay, there are two types of IP, soft IP and hard IP. Fabless company usually will design their own soft IP. Soft IP is the computing power, and then we'll find a third-party provider for hard IP. Okay, hard IP provider in Taiwan are companies such as M31 and eMemory. These are the two hard memory provider for the fabless company. So this company will then license their IP to fabless companies such as Intel, NVIDIA, or AMD. And then this fabless company will require an IC design service provider such as Orchid or GUC in Taiwan. And in Malaysia, such IC design service provider is Opstar. Okay, so this IC design service provider will then take the blueprint from the fabless company and harden the chips. Because when a fabless company design the chips, it's still a blueprint, it's inside the software, like your Adobe software, it's just inside your laptop, inside your computer. So they will need to send this blueprint to an IC design service provider to help them to manufacture these chips physically. Okay, so once the IC design service provider is able to harden the blueprint and manufacture the physical chips, this is when they will send it to TSMC, a foundry player, to go for mass production. Therefore, as you can see, Taiwan ecosystem is really almost complete, from an IP provider to an IC design service provider to a foundry player. So if you are, a startup and everything, you just need to go to Taiwan and you can find all the IP provider, this kind of thing to support you. All right. Next. Okay, this chart, is from the ARM prospectus, the UK ARM prospectus, we just went for listing 1 or 2 months ago. So it's just to show you the cost of designing the latest advanced chip. Okay, the cost to design a 7 nanometer chips, is around 249 million US dollar, and skyrocket to 725 million US dollar for 2 nanometer chips. Therefore, as the cost to design advanced node for AI chips increase, more fabless company will need to outsource more specification in order to compete with other fabless company. Okay, next. Okay, this is just a TSMC technology roadmap. As TSMC is expecting their 2 nanometer technology to be ready by 2025. Okay, I will talk a bit on the foundry landscape. As TSMC, Intel, Samsung used to be the only leading edge foundry that is able to manufacture 14 nanometer and below nodes. However, this changes when Huawei announced its Mate 60 Pro using 7 nanometer advanced node technology manufactured by SMIC. Therefore, the race continues for this player to develop the latest advanced node. As you can see, out of the 4 leading edge foundry, 3 are from Asia, which are TSMC, Taiwan, Samsung, Korea, SMIC, China. So therefore, where, Intel pivoted into focusing on more foundries. So will it succeed? I think as usual, only time will tell that whether Intel will succeed or not. But I do think that the respective countries' government won't want them to fail, as this has become a national agenda for TSMC, Intel, Samsung, as SMIC to successfully advance into the next node. Okay, year 2025, will be a very interesting year for foundries player. Because, TSMC 2 nanometer, Samsung 2 nanometer, and then Intel 18A, which is also 2 nanometer technology, will be ready to compete. So by 2025, we will see that who will be gaining the market share and who will be the leader in the foundries. All right. Next. Okay, this is an example of CPU, GPU, FPGA, and ASIC. So I will explain on all the 4 chips and how important are they, okay? As you all know, right, in data center, okay, the single most important chips in a data center used to be CPU, Central Processing Unit. So back in 10 to 15 years ago, right, before all these things, right, so the data center only have CPU, okay? But as technology get more and more advanced, CPU can no longer support the heavy processing of a data center. Then GPU came along, graphic processing unit, to help to ease the CPU burden. And then the modern data center now require AI chipset to do a more complicated work process. Okay, AI, right? AI chipset is actually separated into 2 different chips. First is inference chips, and the second one is training chips. Okay, training chips is absorbing the knowledge, which is used by GPU chipset function, while inference chips is releasing the knowledge or output. Okay, so basically you just remember this. Training is input, inference is output. Okay, output, I mean, a couple of years ago is used by FPGA, it's a field programming gate array chipset. But as GPU and FPGA processing power is still not enough, still not strong enough and not flexible enough to cope or handle the workload. So ASIC, application-specific integrated circuit, is introduced to cope or to handle the workload. Okay, ASIC chipset, right? The market is very fragmented, you know. There's no single dominant company. Unlike CPU, CPU is dominated by Intel and AMD. GPU, which is NVIDIA, or maybe AMD as well, I guess. So the reason is because the hyperscaler, right, such as Amazon, your Microsoft, your Google, right, they doesn't want to rely on Intel or AMD or NVIDIA anymore to produce the chipset. So they came out to design their own chipset to have the competitive advantage for them. All right. Okay, next. Okay, Korea. Okay, Korea is also, obviously, is one of the key beneficiaries from the AI team. So I'm pretty sure you also heard of this, heard of this company called Samsung Electronic and also SK Hynix, where they provide HBM or high bandwidth memory for AI chips. Okay, SK Hynix is the sole supplier for NVIDIA A100 and H100 for now on HBM3. But Samsung will eventually supply to NVIDIA on HBM3 as well. Okay, to explain the importance of DRAM and HBM in the AI chips. Okay, try to imagine, right, that no matter how smart are you, there is no point if you can't remember anything. It makes sense, right? So same concept in here as well. No matter how strong is the processing capability, there's no point if there's no memory. So the thing with AI chips is that, right, the processing capability is very strong, that the normal DRAM cannot support the processing power. Therefore, HBM is needed to add that kind of flexibility and power to the processing power. Okay, let me explain why we need HBM in the AI chipset now. Okay, try to imagine, right, that, your brain, right, your brain is the GPU or the processing power, okay? So DRAM is your hand, okay? So when your brain send the instruction to your hand, you need to travel a long distance, from your brain to your hand, or basically from GPU to DRAM, okay? Which take a lot of time. Therefore, in order to shorten the time, okay, try to imagine now, we put two mini hand into your brain. So the moment your brain think of something, your two mini hand can straight away act, and it's much faster than your actual hand moving. Okay, this is just an example, on how HBM is attached to the GPU or processing unit. All right, next. Okay, this is currently the HBM development supplier. Okay, SK Hynix dominate the entire HBM3 market, supplying to NVIDIA for now. Okay? So Samsung Electronics, right, last week during their result briefing, they mentioned that they have already sent their HBM3E, okay? 3E is the latest one for next year, sample to NVIDIA and HBM3 to AMD. Therefore, right, for now, only SK Hynix and Samsung, the two Korean players, are the major supplier for HBM3. While American DRAM player Micron also did announce that their HBM3 will be ready for next year. But I doubt that will happen because there's no news and everything for now. And it's not easy also. Okay, next. Okay, 2.5D packaging. I'm pretty sure that you guys heard of the 2.5D packaging or the CoWoS, which is called chip on wafer on substrate. Okay, basically, right, for NVIDIA A100 or H100, is a GPU logic and a HBM, the two main building block of AI chips, is needed to be linked via advanced packaging. Like I mentioned just now, your brain, and then you need to have two small hands. So your brain is the processing unit, GPU, and two small hands is your HBM. You need to link together with advanced packaging. So every leading edge foundry, like your TSMC, Intel, and Samsung, have their own 2.5D packaging. So Samsung 2.5D advanced packaging is called CoWoS. Intel is called Foveros, and Samsung is called iCube. All right. Next. Okay, catching the AI team with ASIC, which I have explained also just now what is ASIC. So circle back to the topic on how Asia countries such as Korea and Taiwan play a major role in the entire AI supply chain, from providing a customized IP, to back-end chip design service, to manufacturing the AI chips. So we are actually very optimistic in the Asia region. There will be the major beneficiary for the AI boom. All right, next. Okay, now a bit on China. So China to become the world's largest second AI market. So according to CLSA, China AI market is growing at 25%, and the overall China market share could reach around 6.3% in 2026, the second largest market behind US. Okay, the current AI public cloud in China is dominated by Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent, where three of them collectively hold 75% of China market share. Next. Okay, actually, right, China doesn't get much press compared to the US, but they do have their own strength, like Baidu. Baidu have their own version of ChatGPT called Ernie Bot, which was launched on 31st August 2023. And Baidu have been consistently upgrading its Ernie Bot. And I think I saw the news last week. Baidu also launched a paid version for their Ernie Bot. Okay, for Tencent, right, as usual, they will enjoy the natural advantage in the AI application for game and entertainment through its social network and online gaming ecosystem. So Tencent ecosystem, right, is more of an adapter of an AI, and actually the monetization of an AI is still yet to be seen, to be honest. Okay, so other than that, right, the online gaming revenue is expected to grow at a CAGR of 13%, driven by the international game, while fintech and business services to grow at a CAGR of 18%. Okay, next. Okay, Alibaba. Okay, Alibaba is still the market leader in China with 29% market share in cloud segment. Okay, the Alibaba story, right, is actually value unlocking through listing. Okay, so currently Alibaba has 6 units, but only 3 is planning for listing. Okay, the first one to go for listing is Cainiao, as the prospectus is already out. Okay, and the next one will be very interesting, which is their Ali Cloud. Okay, Ali Cloud and Cainiao, right, unit could be valued at around 75 billion and 25 billion US dollar. or around 30% and 10% of Alibaba existing market cap, respectively. Therefore, Alibaba plays really more of a value unlocking. And actually, right, in terms of monetizing the AI play, I do think that, Alibaba and Tencent will have the advantage due to larger base, their user base is larger compared to Baidu. All right, next. China reopening. All right, next. Okay, in terms of China reopening, the key surprise, right, is that we haven't seen any key positive towards the Asia Pacific, and we are still waiting for China to have a large stimulus program to revive its property market. Okay, next. Okay, over the longer term, right, the increase in China outbound tourism is expected to provide a substantial support to the Asia region. Asia obviously is the first choice for the Chinese outbound tourism, such as Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, and maybe Malaysia as well. Okay, next. Next. Okay, tourism is close to pre-COVID level, maybe minus another 20%. But Asia, right, is the slowest. We're close to minus 40%. Therefore, we are actually expecting Asia to recover back to the normalized level in the upcoming years. Okay, next. The China government stimulus program this year, right, is actually another tough year for China due to trying to deal with their property side. Okay, China have a few stimulus programs, such as cutting down their down payment for property and cutting interest rate, but it's still not enough. We are actually still waiting for a big stimulus program from the China government to increase or to boost their property sector activity. However, the China policy direction is positive so far and is gradual from top-down policy. Okay, next. Okay, this is the Hang Seng Index. Currently, Hang Seng Index is trading at an 8 times PE, which is at -2 standard deviation level. So that's why I think now might be the best time to invest into the Hong Kong and China market. All right, next. Beneficiary rising EV. Next. Okay, on the EV team, right? How Asia benefit from the EV? I think it's very obvious, right, that Asia is the key manufacturing hub where both sales of EV and manufacturing of EV, Asia is the leader. China has the highest EV sales globally, where in July 2023, China accounted for 58% of the global EV sales, with 717,000 units produced. Okay, next. Okay, Tesla, the number one EV player with 19.7% market share. And number two is BYD with 14.8%. But now, right, actually BYD is slowly gaining market share. And people are actually saying that BYD might overtake Tesla as the leader in fourth quarter 2023. But it's still depending on several factors. Okay, next. All right. So the 4 key themes that I mentioned just now will be very important moving forward. And I do think that, like Korea, your Taiwan, you definitely benefit from the AI team. So yeah, okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Now I'll pass back the time to you, Shane.
All right, thank you so much, William, for sharing with us why Asia will have the key growth in the artificial intelligence sector. So if you have any questions to ask our speaker today, please write them at the Q&A box, not the chat box. Write them at the Q&A box, yeah? We have about 20 minutes for Q&A. Now, given the restriction that the US imposes on China when it comes to high-end chips for AI, like Nvidia, could this shortfall be supplemented by local players in Asia? So this question is by Hong Jian.
Actually, right, a couple of weeks ago during Intel briefing, so Intel have AI training chips that sell to China. So Intel subsidiary called Habana, so they sell these Gaudi chips, training chips to China. So when China restricted, right? So we asked Intel this question, it's like, so China is gone. Is there any impact to you? Then Intel management said this. There's no impact, don't worry. Why? Because the rest of the world, the Euro, the Euro, the US, the Western country, right? They will absorb all the remaining capacity. Okay. So the supply, right? Actually, Intel double up their production, their AI training chips production, they double up for next year. So if you say that there's an impact, but I don't see it, Intel is doubling their production and Nvidia is also doubling their production. So Nvidia target to sell around 2 million of their AI chips, the H100, 2 million this year, and double to 4 million next year. So so that's why, right? Even though there's the ban in China, but the demand is so strong. All the hyperscaler, which is basically in US, which is venturing into India, Asia country, Malaysia, Singapore. So the demand is so strong that the cutoff to China actually have not much impact to the fabless company. So actually, to be honest, from what I can see, there's not much impact for now.
All right, thank you so much, William, for sharing your perspective.
Yep.
So the next question is, are there any updated indications if and when SMIC's capability will be able to match foreign players like Intel, TSMC, Samsung, etc.?
Okay, actually, right, you see, right, TSMC now is your Apple iPhone 15 Pro is using 3 nanometer chips, okay? And then SMIC is 7 nanometer chips. So it's 2 generation late. 2 generation behind. So basically, China, in terms of the 2 generation, is around like 3 to 4 years behind. So, right, actually, everyone is very surprised, that why SMIC managed to manufacture 7 nanometer. When there's so much restriction, they ban their equipment, they ban the UV lithography from ASML, but they still manage to produce it. So if you were to ask me, right, will China ever catch up with TSMC or Intel? It might be, I won't say it's impossible. It's possible. At the very beginning of the year, everyone said that, it's impossible, for SMIC to produce below 40 nanometer. And then, pop, 7 nanometer is out. And it's comparable with Intel 7 nanometer as well. So this is how strong China is. So yeah, that's why I want to say you cannot underestimate China itself. It's true, they are being banned and they are much slower, but eventually they will slowly catch up as well. Yep.
All right, thank you so much, William, for sharing your perspective in this issue. The next question is by Chang. Now, AI data center infrastructure will require more fiber optic chips. Will Inari benefit from this AI trend?
Actually, right, for the local, okay, even though, right, Malaysia tech ecosystem is also, is quite well established, to be honest, because I think Intel started their first factory in Malaysia in 1972. Their first factory. So actually our ecosystem is much better than, the other ASEAN country like Thailand or Indonesia. So in terms of history, we are comparable with Taiwan and Korea. But we are more on the back end, which is on your OSAT and equipment maker. So if you were to ask me for now, the training chips to data center, does Malaysia player benefit from it? To be honest, speaking with the local player, I haven't seen yet. But as now the hot topic is this thing called Edge AI or on-device AI. So, basically, right, you put an AI chip into your smartphone or PC. So if they manage to, do the marketing well and everything, so the AI chips in the PC is the next big thing, so everyone start buying PC, everyone start buying smartphone. The quantity of a smartphone increase, the PC increase, then of course it will benefit the Malaysia OSAT player like Inari. because Inari, it helped one of the company which helped Apple. So it linked. So if Apple's phone sales increase, then they will increase as well. So Inari will benefit.
So we are like the indirect beneficiary of this growing trend, lah. Am I right?
Correct. We want not directly, but indirectly.
Okay. What do you think of Franken? Like Franken is also a service provider to TSMC for this AI space.
Okay. If you believe that TSMC will continue to be the market leader, and the markets, I mean the semicon industry will continue to grow, then of course, Franken being the one that's supporting TSMC, of course they will benefit as well. But if you also believe that Intel Foundry, in 2025, they managed to get some market share, from your Samsung or your TSMC. I mean, of course, it will impact TSMC and also Samsung as well, for sure. So, okay, for sure, in the longer term, right, yes, the company will grow. But it's depending on how fast is the growth, you might be expecting 15%, but actually, because you lose some market share, TSMC lose some market share, but they're growing at 12%. It's still growing, you know what I mean? So over the years, it's true, the entire industry is growing. But that's why I say, if you believe in TSMC will maintain its leadership, then Franken will continue to benefit for it, for sure.
Yeah. Right. Thank you so much, William, for your insights. The next question is, how do you see the future of EV technology in larger vehicles such as buses and freight vehicles, industrial freight vehicles?
How do I see it? Actually, right, for me, right, my imagination of EV, right, in the next 10 years or 15 years, right, I was sitting in my EV there, right? So it's full of LED, it's full of screen. So I won't be driving anymore. I will just keep on working. So it will become my workspace, you know what I mean? So that's how my imagination of EV, you know what I mean? So I will be working there, there'll be full of screen left or right. So, you know what I mean? Just autopilot there. But if you're talking about buses and freight vehicle for industrial, I haven't thought of that yet, to be very honest. So I'm not sure on that. So sorry.
Okay. I think a lot of buses now are getting electrified. So I guess there will be more buses that will employ these EV technologies, I guess.
Yeah, but that's why I say, if the future, then I have no idea what will happen to the electrical buses and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think, William, you must have heard of this Moore's law, right? So what is your view on this Moore's law in technology chips, and how will this affect the industry?
What is my view on this Moore? Actually, Moore's law is this theory is founded by the Intel founder, Gordon Moore. Okay, so during 1968, if I'm not mistaken, around there. So he developed this theory, Moore's law, that every 2 years the transistor will double up. So from 2 million to 4 million, 4 million to 8 million. So right, actually, right, to be very honest with you, right, the reason I think personally, I think why Intel failed at the very beginning, where they lose out their market share to TSMC, is because they follow very closely to this Moore's law. You know what I mean? Intel, during that time, the foundry, right, they say that every 2 years we have to double no matter what. So, right, it costs them a lot of money, a lot of capex is being spent, and because they cannot manufacture it in mass production. You know what I mean? So that's why it causes Intel to fail. I won't use the word fail, but causes Intel to delay so much because they are following the Moore's law very closely, doubling in every 2 years. But TSMC, right, actually, you notice, right, TSMC from 7 nanometer to 5 nanometer to 3 nanometer is actually not doubling. You know what I mean? So TSMC is actually going step by step, improving slowly. But Intel wanted to follow it closely. Every 2 years double. That's why there has a huge delay in there. So if you ask me, right, it will reach to a bottleneck, okay, where you can no longer double anymore in the next 2 years, which I think is really happening. And you will need advanced packaging. You will need advanced packaging to help the transistor, not transistor, the chips to have more transistor. Okay, now we have 2D transistor or 2.5D packaging. So when 3D packaging, right, they'll be stacking. So one chip stack on second, or stack on third, stack on fourth. So in this 4 stacking, right, it'll be 4 times more than a normal chips because it's 3D stacking. But I mean, to be honest, until now, there's still the 3D stacking is still not there yet. So everyone is still trying to research it. So the 3D advanced packaging will be the next big breakthrough to to uh, increase the transistor. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, William. The next question is: if you read today's news, China is still in downtrend. In whether it's on stock market and also economy. So when do you think China will start to recover, or should we wait until the US cut their interest rate first? So that's a question by Ui.
I think that's $1 million question, right? That basically, right, to be honest, right, China, right, is a country that is so unique that you can never guess it, you know what I mean? It's very hard for you to time it. So, right, I remember there's one of the broker, right, the sell side, right, they say that, when China is uninvestable, and then Xi Jinping, come up with a policy, saying something, then the China market rally. So it's very difficult for us to time China, especially China. I feel it's a very difficult market for you to time. So you just have to go on the longer term instead of looking at 6 to 12 months, give you a 3 to 5 years horizon, and then you think that will China eventually become the leader? Even though it's not leader, but they will. I mean, eventually they will out from this current property crisis, right? So then you just believe that that Alibaba or your Tencent or your SMIC or your Huawei, if you're using Huawei phone and everything, then you feel that their processing power is really good, and actually they actually it's not bad. So that's when your conviction is there, then you start to buy a bit to have a more longer term of view. If you ask me, will China recover in the next 6 months? To be very honest, I'm so sorry. I have no idea on that as well. It's really depending, because I mentioned just now, China, the current thing that is how should I use the word, that is blocking them is the property market. So property is still very badly hit. Most of the people, in the Chinese people, I think 70 to 80% of their wealth is linked to property. So they really need to boost their property activity, to recover the entire economy. Yep.
All right. I understand that. Thanks so much, William, for sharing with us about China perspective. I guess the investment merit in China, as you mentioned just now, was cheap valuation, right? The P is about 8 times,
Yes.
about -2 standard deviation.
Yes.
All right. So if you're somebody who like to do bargain hunting, maybe you can consider China lah. Okay, but have a longer time horizon if you want to invest in this market. That's what William suggests.
Yep.
The next question is: are there any ASEAN countries? Are there any ASEAN companies? Pardon me, outside of Malaysia that would benefit from the growing use of this AI theme? More specifically, those that may be more related to maintenance and development of these teams.
Actually, right, to be very honest with you, ASEAN, right, in ASEAN, like your Thailand, Indonesia, this kind of places, actually Malaysia tech ecosystem is actually way more well established, which I mentioned just now. So if you're talking about ASEAN, then look at Malaysia tech, for this team. Thailand, actually you can't really find the Thai ecosystem, the tech ecosystem in there yet for now. Okay. So if you ask me for Malaysia, then eventually, eventually it will appear. But for now, I still haven't seen it yet, because AI, right? Actually, AI, we still haven't found a way to monetize it yet. People spend, hyperscaler, right? Have like Microsoft, your Microsoft, Amazon, your Google has been spending so much money on that, but they haven't monetized it yet. So once they're able to monetize it, then we can see some concrete earning there. Then the supply chain will be more clear, which will bring it to ASEAN country. For now, I haven't seen it yet.
So Malaysia is still a better AI player in this ASEAN space.
Yes, correct.
All right. Now we know that the US has been fighting have trade war, economy wars with China, and there has been a lot of transfer of technology from US technology from China to India. So will India benefit from this AI boom?
Okay, actually, right, to be very honest, I have a look at India. Okay, but I do know, like India is currently on a structural growth. They are like the China 10 years ago. Their property market is booming. Then, everyone is moving to India. It's because of the population also, they are like the second largest in terms of population in the world with 1
They're the
billion
largest now,
population.
I guess.
Oh, the
Yeah.
largest now. Oh, okay, okay.
Overtook China already.
Okay, okay. So in terms of population wise, then yeah, of course, Apple also wanted to open their factory there. So so that's why I haven't really take a look into India, so I can't really give my opinion or my insight on India on this AI team. So sorry about it.
All right. Thank you so much. Which Malaysian companies will benefit from Super Microcomputer Inc. investment in Malaysia?
Which company will benefit? Super Micro in computer is what? So it's AI data center supplier. Actually, right. So if you link down to the supply chain, right? So for example, uh like Microsoft, Microsoft built for their open AI, so they built more AI data center. So the chips for sure will be manufactured by TSMC. Then TSMC, of course, will link to Franken as well. So obviously they'll benefit as well. And then for others in like Inari, your other OSAT player, for now, actually, to be honest, I'm not very sure on how they will benefit on this specifically for Malaysia. Yeah, I haven't really seen that yet. Yeah.
All right. The next question is by Azaria. How much Malaysia local market will be impacted with this AI growth?
Impacted with this AI growth. Actually, it's depending on the market sentiment, right? For example, like I mentioned just now, that if AI start to monetize, that people start spending, for this AI thing, and then eventually, eventually it will, like I say, it will pass down to the OSAT player in Malaysia, like Inari or UWC, which benefit from Intel and everything, this kind of stuff. So eventually, right, it would link down. So if the big question now is, can AI monetize? So if they are able to monetize, we can see it, then for sure Malaysia will benefit. The local market will for sure benefit from the AI market. But if we cannot see the AI able to monetize it, then the hype will die down. Then eventually, of course, there will be not much growth story going on. Yeah.
So you feel that this AI theme will be a circular trend, or is going to be a hype?
Okay. 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 You try to go back to smartphone. Okay. So when 3G started, right? 3G started, there's WhatsApp. WhatsApp. So everyone wanted a 3G phone because there's WhatsApp. So everyone, oh, you have WhatsApp. Oh, you don't need to pay. All right. I will subscribe to 3G. I will pay the money to 3G. And then when 3G to 4G, 4G, there's like your Food Panda, your Uber, and everything. Correct? Huh? So people are like, I want a 4G because I can order Food Panda or Uber or Grab or whatever. So then actually notice, right? Does any of our friend have 5G? Not really, right? I mean, for my friend, actually, not many of my friends have a 5G. They are not willing to pay the extra 30 to 40 ringgit for 5G. Why? Because 5G doesn't have a killer apps. You know what I mean? We don't have a killer apps for 5G that people need to have 5G. So, right, it boils down to, right, does AI have a killer apps that able to monetize? You spend so much money, like 50 to 60 billion US dollar a year, for example, and then you train, your data center is so sharp, but if you cannot monetize it, then there's no point. People won't pay that kind of money. So now maybe I ask you this question. It's like, for example, now, Apple iPhone, you bought it for 4,400 to 4,500. Okay. will you pay an extra 10%, you know what I mean, to maybe 5,000 ringgit to have these AI features into your smartphone? You know, so then you will ask, actually, what is the AI features in my smartphone? What is the use of it? If you don't see the killer apps in your smartphone or your PC, you won't pay that kind of 10% you won't pay that extra 10% for the AI features. So it's the same theory now. So if AI doesn't have a killer apps, okay, in the next year, then people will stop spending. Then the entire AI CapEx will come down. Okay. But if there's the WhatsApp or there's the Uber or Grab in the AI, the killer apps is here, then it will continue to go up. Yes. So actually, I'm now waiting what is the killer apps for the AI that will make people pay the extra 10% or 15% or 5 to 10 or 15% for your smartphone or for your PC to have the AI features. Yeah.
Do you think ChatGPT is one?
Okay, ChatGPT, right? You have to pay $20 per month, maybe close to 90 to 100 ringgit per month. Were you willing to pay? Are you willing to pay 190 to 100 ringgit a month for ChatGPT? Right? You know what I mean? So if you're not willing, then that's the story, you know? So ChatGPT has to come up with something even more attractive for us to pay the $20 a month, so that, you know, it's not like, oh, for now, like now, right, ChatGPT, right, I'm okay if I don't use it. I'm still fine. I don't need to pay the 90 to 100 ringgit a month. You know what I mean? But unless ChatGPT is able to come up with something that, oh, I cannot, you know, it's like my 3G data, I need to have ChatGPT in my smartphone or something. I need to pay the $20 a month. Then that's where you know the AI boom will continue.
But there are free version.
Yes, but free version there's a cutoff. It's not real life. It's not up to date. So I think they cut off their data in 2021 or 2022, something like that. So you won't get the latest data.
Google Bard is free and uses real life data.
Yeah, for now, of course. You think they won't charge you eventually? Right.
All right. So time has run out for this session. So ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from Mr. William Kong, who is a portfolio manager with Kenanga Investors Berhad. Thank you so much, William, for sharing with us on this topic, why invest in Asia, as well as giving us insights into the AI supply chain. Thank you so much, William.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.